Hello, week 5. Got my oranges back. The mind, the body, and the soul. Oh. And we're juggling them all day, every week, every day. Juggling the mind, the body, and the soul. Let's get that soul right. So week 5, Old Testament. Moses and the Israelites complain a lot, and that is an understatement. They basically never stop complaining. They've actually perfected the art of complaining, and not about God, but to God. All right. So this week, God shows not just his power, but his amazing love for the Israelites. Now, the Pharaoh is one tough son of a gun. Plague after plague after plague. Yet he refuses to listen to God. And after each display of God's awesome power, the Pharaoh is like, okay, stop, and I'll let your people go. Throw in a prayer for me while you're telling God to stop. And then, of course, he changes his mind. How many of us do that? Okay, God, I'll follow you. Okay, I'll do whatever you say. Nah, never mind. Anyways, so it wasn't until the Pharaoh had to suffer the ultimate loss that he was willing to actually do what he says he was going to do. And it just kind of sucks somehow. It sucks that sometimes it takes the ultimate loss to loosen the concrete foundation of our own self-interest. That's real. The Pharaoh finally succeeds to God's will, but then a couple days later, he goes into hot pursuit over his free labor force. The Israelites get to go, but then he's like, nope, I gotta go get them back. One big last display of God's awesome power to the Egyptians is he splits the Red Sea. The Israelites get to walk through on dry land, and the Egyptians don't. They get completely crushed by the waters, and they die. So he drowns the whole Egyptian army, and that is the last time that the Egyptians will mess with the Israelites. Fast forward a little bit, and more complaining from the Israelites. Complaining about food, complaining about water, ... And here's a cool one, check it out. God feeds the Israelites frosted flakes from heaven. Check it out. He also, creates water from rocks and a couple other cool tricks. Definitely worth reading. Then they get into a rumble with the Amalekites. A rumble in the desert. And as long as Moses is holding his staff up, the Israelites are winning. But the minute he drops his staff, the Israelites are losing. So, yes, someone else lifting their hands up for you can create the win. It can bring forth the win. So, if you got somebody who's failing at something, just lift your hands up and pray for them. I know from personal experience that when you lift your hands up and you pray for somebody that you love who's losing a battle, if you believe wholeheartedly that they will, that God will help them win, he will. I've seen it. So lastly, Moses creates judges for the people. Constant bickering, 40,000 people. It's a tiring job, so Moses has to grab a few good people with good morals out of the crowd and create judges or mediators in between the people. Kind of sounds like, the courts, doesn't it? So, even way back then, the first set of courts is decided. That's what Moses creates. It's like a judgment court-like system, mediator sort of system. Check it out. Okay, so New Testament. That was the Old Testament. This is the New Testament. Jesus is running around doing his thing still, healing and all that. And there was a rich dude that rolls up on Jesus, and he's like, Jesus, I want to go to heaven. I think I've done everything right. And Jesus is like, yeah, no, you did pretty good. One last thing. Give all your riches away to the poor and follow me. And the rich dude was like, no, I don't want to go that bad. Keep that in mind, rich folks. Jesus said, come serve. If you want to be first in heaven, You got to be, a servant on earth. So it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to make it into the kingdom of heaven. Check your Bible. Jesus repeats that over and over and over. If you want to go to heaven, if you want to reign in heaven, you have to serve on earth. Matthew 20, 1 through 16 is pretty cool. You should check it out. Jesus likes to make the blind see. And not just as a metaphor, but in real life. And I'm assuming is to make a stronger point for his metaphor. I once was blind, but now I see. I was lost, but now I'm found. Oh, here's a big one. Jesus is not having the selling of goods in his church. Okay? So any church that's selling anything, just, again, a sinner saved by grace and mercy. But if you're selling something and you're a church, just double check your stuff. You don't want to piss Jesus off. He is not easily angered, but selling things at church definitely upsets him. Here's another one. If you're praying for something, you have to believe wholeheartedly that you're going to get what you're praying for. Otherwise, your prayers are completely useless. Make your case before God. Lord, I'm praying for this thing. I believe this thing is going to happen. This thing's got to happen because I'm praying for this thing, and I believe this thing is going to happen. Another one is Matthew 21, 31, 32, and that's regarding judgment from authority. So if you are in a position of authority and you're judging people, just double check that. Matthew 21, 31, and 32. Here's a big thing that I read, and this really stuck out for me. God has an open invitation for everyone to come to heaven, not just the Israelites or the Hebrews or this, that, or whatever. Everybody is invited to the glorious kingdom of heaven. Two things. Number one, love the Lord your God with all your mind, body, and soul. Did I get that right? I don't think I got that right. I'll have to fix that. Soul. And then love your neighbor as you love yourself. And if you don't love yourself, you should probably, check that. So, love God with all your mind, body, and soul. Love your neighbor like you love yourself. Sounds simple, yet 90% of humans won't. How about you? Are you part of the 10% that will? Hope so. Heaven sounds pretty cool. Sounds like a place I want to hang. Proverbs of the week. The evil deeds of the wicked ensnare them. The cords of their sins hold them fast. For lack of discipline, they will die, led astray by their own great folly. That one kicked my butt this week. How many times have I been ensnared by my own great folly and lack of discipline? Too many! So this week is a quick one, and now we're going to be, as the following weeks go along, we're going to be hanging out with the Israelites in the desert and checking out all their follies. I will not delight in evil. I will not boast. I will not be proud. I will not be envious. I will not dishonor others. I will not be self-seeking. I will not be easily angered. I will not keep record of wrongdoing. I will not lose hope. I will not fail. I will be kind. I will be patient. I will rejoice in truth. I will protect. I will trust. And I will persevere. Fast week. Only 10 minutes, not bad. Read your Bible, listen to the gospel, get your mind right. Make sure you take care of your soul. God bless. Laying it on your heart if you're feeling like you want to argue, or if you're feeling you want to help me build a church where we don't judge and we love everyone. Holla!